Part 89. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 881. A master actually said that he could rival the ancestor of creation? Such words would probably cause countless powerful people to sneer, but the ancestor of Yongheng and the ancestor of Hunyuan had seen Li Yang's soul impact before, so they naturally knew that Li Yang was not exaggerating. Good. The ancestor of Yongheng had a calm personality, but he was also excited at this time. He knew his disciple very well. Since Li Yang said he could, it meant that he was 100% sure. The face of the ancestor of Hunyuan also showed an extremely happy expression. Li Yang's soul transformation this time is equivalent to a direct increase in the strength of the entire human race. The content of an ancestor of creation is enough to be equivalent to all the emperors and masters of the human race. At this moment, Li Yang's original body and 8 clones. Li Yang has the strength of the ancestor of creation, which means that the human race has 9 more ancestors of creation. He didn't know that when Li Yang's ancestor dragon clone was bred, Li Yang had 9 clones. Li Yang, since you have this strength, let's fight. In addition to joy, the Hunyuan ancestor spoke, and there was a hint of fighting spirit in his eyes. Let me feel the specific situation of your strength. The Hunyuan ancestor had never fought with a strong man who was good at souls. Li Yang was stunned for a moment by the Hunyuan ancestor's straightforward invitation. Next to him, the eternal ancestor smiled and said, Li Yang, Hunyuan is like this. When he sees an opponent of equal strength, he always wants to fight. He couldn't help but say, but you fight secretly, don't let others notice, you fight in my world. Li Yang has the combat power of the creation ancestor, which is definitely a great thing for the human race, but this matter is not suitable to be exposed. This will only increase the vigilance of the alien strongmen. The hidden Li Yang can completely become a trump card, and may cause great damage to the enemy in a certain period of time. And the fluctuations between Li Yang and the Hunyuan ancestor, the 2 strong men, will definitely attract the attention of many strong men around. Although the loyalty of those who stay in the core of the eternal temple of the human race is beyond doubt, it cannot be guaranteed to be 100%. After all, in this core area, there are masters, emperors, and even many gods who specialize in teaching the geniuses of the human race. These gods may be infiltrated by some alien races. If the news spreads, Li Yang's trump card will lose its maximum effect. After saying that, a strange wave emanated from the body of the eternal ancestor, and this wave enveloped Li Yang and the Hunyuan ancestor. The figure of the Hunyuan ancestor disappeared directly, and Li Yang could obviously sense another world when he came into contact with this wave, which was a very wonderful feeling. He did not resist and let this wave wrap around his body. Then, Li Yang only felt his figure move and appeared in a wonderful world. This is obviously the universe created by the eternal ancestor. This is a world completely different from the outside world, because here, Li Yang can only feel the fluctuations of some laws. The world created by the eternal ancestor is based on the fusion law he has comprehended. What the eternal ancestor cannot comprehend, naturally cannot be revealed in this world. In the huge world, the eternal ancestor served as the referee. On both sides of him stood Li Yang and the Hunyuan ancestor. Li Yang, I'm going to attack. The Hunyuan ancestor held the sword in his hand, looked at Li Yang, and said, I won't hold back any strength. Li Yang smiled and said, the Hunyuan ancestor will attack. Boom. The Hunyuan ancestor was not a hesitant character. After he finished speaking, the terrifying momentum fluctuations on his body instantly erupted, and the whole person rioted and attacked Li Yang. At this time, he obviously regarded Li Yang as a real opponent, so he did not hide anything from his opponent from the beginning. As the Hunyuan ancestor attacked, the terrible pressure also came. This pressure, Li Yang in front of the talent ladder a year ago, would feel powerless to resist. Of course, Li Yang still feels huge pressure now, but that's all. Boom. On the other side, the rioting Hunyuan ancestor, when he quickly approached Li Yang, he felt an extremely powerful soul pressure coming. Under this soul pressure, his own soul seemed to be trapped in a quagmire, and the origin of the fusion law in his body was running much slower, and the speed of the whole person also slowed down immediately. What a strong soul pressure! The face of the Hunyuan ancestor was serious. This soul pressure obviously affected his strength a lot. However, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor was still very fast, and at this time his speed still exceeded the top master, so he was obviously getting closer and closer to Li Yang. However, as he approached Li Yang, he only felt that his soul was suppressed more and more, and his speed was constantly decreasing. Soul, large-scale attack, and small-scale attack are completely different. If a soul of a certain strength is concentrated in a small range, the soul pressure will naturally be stronger. Under this soul pressure, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor was actually the same as Li Yang at this time, and he couldn't catch up with Li Yang at all. Li Yang, I'm going to activate the Supreme Holy Artifact Brilliant Galaxy now. The Hunyuan ancestor noticed the situation and said directly. He didn't use any weapons just now, but when he really fought, he would definitely use the Supreme Holy Artifact. If Li Yang fights with the demon race's Blood Dove ancestor in the future, then Blood Dove ancestor will definitely use the Supreme Sacred Weapon. Li Yang smiled and said, Ancestor Hunyuan, you can use it? Buzz. A river appeared, and on the river, the stars were twinkling. It was the Brilliant Star River, the supreme holy artifact of the human race. The Brilliant Star River is an auxiliary treasure that can make the Hunyuan ancestor faster, but make Li Yang slower. The speed of the Hunyuan ancestor increased, and the distance between him and Li Yang was getting closer and closer. Li Yang's foundation was only the domination realm, so the Hunyuan ancestor felt that as long as he got close to Li Yang, it would not be difficult to deal with Li Yang. Boom. But then, a more terrible soul pressure came, and the Hunyuan ancestor only felt that he was under greater suppression. Then, his speed was the same as Li Yang's. Obviously, Li Yang activated the Kunlun mirror. I activated 1/3 of the Kunlun mirror's soul pressure, and the Hunyuan ancestor couldn't catch up with me at this time, Li Yang said in his heart, calculating his own strength. This is the soul method. The powerful soul pressure is enough to greatly affect the opponent's strength. The weak will not be able to bear it directly and will be directly killed by the soul. Even if the strong do not die, they will be greatly affected by the soul pressure, suppressed throughout the process, and their strength will be reduced again and again. Let's see where my limit is, Li Yang thought in his heart. He waved his right hand, and then a red wing flew out and came to the front of the Hunyuan ancestor. This is the Supreme Holy Weapon Red Gold Wing. Thanks to 08 for the 100 reward, thank you. End of this chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 882. Red Gold Wings, the speed-type supreme holy weapon that Li Yang got on the first floor of the Kaishan sect inheritance tower. Before, the Hunyuan ancestor relied on this supreme holy weapon and even fought against more than a dozen alien ancestors without losing the upper hand. After returning to the human race, the Hunyuan ancestor returned the red gold wings to Li Yang, and this supreme holy weapon has always been on Li Yang. Hunyuan ancestor, try to activate the red gold wings, Li Yang said to the Hunyuan ancestor. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Li Yang actually wanted to try whether the Hunyuan ancestor who activated the red gold wings could do anything to him. Li Yang, it seems that you are very confident. Looking at the red gold wings flying over, the Hunyuan ancestor nodded directly. He did not refuse. At this time, he could not even get close to Li Yang. If this goes on, the battle will continue like this. Whoosh! The speed-type supreme holy artifact, the red gold wings, was fully activated, and the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor increased dramatically. Almost in an instant, he was about to catch up with Li Yang. At this time, the Hunyuan ancestor really burst out with all his strength. His strength was originally the top of the universe. When he activated the speed-type Supreme Holy Artifact, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor could be called the fastest speed in the entire universe. And at this time, Li Yang no longer held back. Boom! The Kunlun mirror was fully activated, and the terrible soul pressure inside was directly released. Under this soul pressure, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor had not really approached Li Yang, and it seemed to be stuck in a quagmire, and his speed was at most equal to Li Yang. He kept changing directions and tried to approach Li Yang, but he couldn't succeed. Uncomfortable, at this time, the Hunyuan ancestor only felt that he was extremely uncomfortable. It was like running very fast, but fell into a quagmire, and no matter how fast he ran, he couldn't play it, and could only move forward slowly in the quagmire. This was how the Hunyuan ancestor felt at this time. After a minute, the Hunyuan ancestor finally stopped. In the void, Li Yang saw the Hunyuan ancestor stop, and he also stopped. Seeing that the two stopped fighting, the Yongyang ancestor quickly flew over, and he smiled and said, "Haha, Hunyuan, I think you seem to have suffered a loss in the battle with Li Yang." Judging from the battle situation, the Hunyuan ancestor was obviously in a passive state. The Hunyuan ancestor shook his head helplessly and said, "Soul attack, I have seen relevant information in ancient books, and that information calls it an attack that is more terrible than the law. Now it seems to be true. In fact, there is no one in the entire universe who specializes in practicing soul attack. At most, some people are born with strong souls and rely on their souls to crush the weak. As for those in the same realm, it is impossible to rely on souls to crush another person. Like the Hunyuan ancestor, who is at the top of the universe, it is impossible for anyone to use souls to do anything to him. For soul attacks, the Hunyuan ancestor actually doesn't think much of it. However, today he really saw the horror of soul attacks. Obviously, Li Yang was still in the master realm, and his strength was far weaker than his. As long as he got close to Li Yang, he could easily get rid of Li Yang. However, under the pressure of Li Yang's soul, he couldn't do it at all. From the beginning to the end, his speed was suppressed again and again. The closer he got to Li Yang, the slower his speed became, and he was constantly being kited by Li Yang. He, the powerful ancestor of creation, was suppressed to the master stage. This way of fighting was too aggrieved. While sighing, the ancestor of Hunyuan looked at Li Yang and said, "Li Yang, I can't catch up with you even if I use the speed-type Supreme Holy Weapon. With your current strength, no ancestor of creation in the entire universe can do anything to you." "Ancestor Hunyuan, you are too kind," Li Yang said modestly with a smile on his face at this time, and he was obviously in a good mood. He thought to himself, "It seems that the soul entity is much stronger than I thought, and the soul impact of Kunlun mirror is also stronger than I thought. Without using any weapons, his soul is enough to suppress the ancestor of creation. Even if the ancestor of creation uses the supreme holy weapon, his soul combined with the Kunlun mirror is enough to suppress them." Just now, facing the full strength attack of the ancestor of Hunyuan who has two supreme holy weapons, he has not yet completely activated the power of the Kunlun mirror. The Kunlun mirror happens to be a soul-type supreme holy weapon, and his soul is a rare soul entity in the entire universe. The two are simply the most perfect match. After the initial attempt, Li Yang also roughly understood his current situation. Just kidding, the ancestor of Hunyuan who uses the speed-type supreme holy weapon can fight with more than a dozen ancestors of creation without losing the wind, but now, he can't even catch up with Li Yang. In the entire universe, who can deal with Li Yang? Of course, Li Yang is now just the master, others can't do anything to him, and he can't do anything to others. The ancestor of creation stood there, and he couldn't break the opponent's defense. Fighting with any ancestor of creation, the final result is only one, that is a draw. Haha, Li Yang has such strength, it is a blessing for our human race. The face of the eternal ancestor was full of smiles. Preliminary verification shows that Li Yang's strength is obviously much stronger than he imagined. You know, in the entire universe, more than half of the founders do not have the supreme sacred artifact. The Hunyuan ancestor with 2 supreme sacred artifacts was suppressed so badly by Li Yang. What will the other founders without the supreme sacred artifact be like? At this time, after the Hunyuan ancestor finished speaking, he suddenly said, "My previous plan had 2 conditions, which I thought would take a long time to achieve, and now, one of the conditions has been achieved." Hearing this, the eternal ancestor's eyes lit up and said, "That condition has indeed been achieved." The 2 were talking, and Li Yang was very confused and asked, "Teacher, Hunyuan ancestor, what plan are you talking about?" The Hunyuan ancestor did not hide his thoughts and told Li Yang about his thoughts. Kill the creation ancestor. When Li Yang heard what the Hunyuan ancestor said, he was surprised. He had an idea in his mind before, that if he broke through to become the creation ancestor in the future, could he kill other creation ancestors? He didn't expect that the Hunyuan ancestor had already had this plan. The Hunyuan ancestor said, "Li Yang, your soul pressure is so terrible now, it can even suppress the strength of a creator ancestor to the dominant stage. Then I will take action against that creator ancestor, and I will definitely crush him completely." At this time, Yongheng ancestor couldn't help asking, "Hunyuan, can you kill him?" Hunyuan ancestor shook his head, "Now with Li Yang, I have a 20% chance of killing a creator ancestor, and it is a creator ancestor without the supreme sacred weapon." Eternal ancestor did not speak. 20% chance, obviously too low. The creator ancestor created a complete world of his own, which can be called immortal. For endless years, no creator ancestor has fallen. In everyone's mind, such a strong man is impossible to fall and can exist forever. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 883. For countless years, there have been other founding ancestors who have joined forces to deal with another founding ancestor. The most famous one is the Hanyu clan. Google searched Kan. In the past, there were only 9 peak clans in the universe. At that time, the Hanyu clan was as powerful as the Kongli Jiaolong clan and the Lizing Beast clan. There were no more than 10 masters in the clan. It was a second-tier clan in the universe and did not attract much attention. In an exploration with great opportunities, the top master of the Hanyu clan broke through and became a founding ancestor. At that time, there were not only masters, but also founding ancestors, and there were more than a dozen of them. The master of the Hanyu clan had just broken through and was obviously the weakest founding ancestor. He did not have a supreme holy weapon on him. Even the peak holy weapon only had 2 pieces, not a full set. More than a dozen founding ancestors, with a total of 7 supreme holy artifacts. They joined forces to hunt down the founding ancestor of the Hanyun tribe, and even completely surrounded the founding ancestor of the Hanyun tribe. In this way, after dealing with it for several months, the vitality of the founding ancestor of the Hanyun tribe remained at its peak. Even if he was injured, he would recover again in a short moment. In the end, this battle ended in failure. This also proves the myth that the founding ancestor cannot be killed. The Hanyun tribe has also become the 10th peak tribe in the universe. Therefore, even if he clearly knows how terrible Li Yang's soul pressure is, the Hunyuan ancestor relies on 2 supreme holy artifacts, and his strength is even suppressed to the dominance realm. The Hunyuan ancestor still does not have much confidence in killing a founding ancestor. The eyes of the Hunyuan ancestor radiated light. Joining forces with Li Yang, the success rate will increase by 20%, and if my human race gets another attack-type supreme holy weapon, my confidence will be increased to more than 90%. An attack-type supreme holy weapon can definitely raise the strength of the Hunyuan ancestor to another level. An attack-type supreme holy weapon. Hearing what the Hunyuan ancestor said, Li Yang's heart moved. The Hunyuan ancestor's strength is so terrible that he can fight with more than a dozen creation ancestors without losing the upper hand by relying on the speed-type supreme holy weapon Red Gold Wings and the auxiliary-type supreme holy weapon Brilliant Star River. And if the Hunyuan ancestor gets another attack-type supreme holy weapon, combined with his soul shock of the Kunlun mirror, he feels very confident that he can kill a creation ancestor. Okay, no more talk. The Hunyuan ancestor smiled and said, if you don't have more than 90% confidence, you can't take action. We can just wait for the opportunity slowly. Killing the creation ancestor, this plan is too crazy. If the first implementation fails to kill the enemy completely, it will definitely scare the founders of the world, and they will not be given the chance to attack again. You can just not attack. If you want to attack, you must kill one person, otherwise the consequences will be too great. Well, our human race has the Kaishan sect inheritance obtained by Li Yang, so it is inevitable that we will be strong. Li Yang has reached such a level, and we will definitely have a chance in the future, the eternal ancestor said with a smile. He looked at Li Yang again and couldn't help saying, Li Yang, although your strength is so strong, we can't announce it for the time being, and we can't celebrate. With Li Yang's strength, it is enough to stand on the same level with them at this time. But Li Yang's strength cannot be exposed. If the human race has the next meeting, Li Yang will still have to wait in a line with the human race master. Teacher, I know. Li Yang smiled. He didn't think much of these. The three talked for a long time, and Li Yang left again and returned to the palace. He was thinking about his next plan. Now the ancestral dragon clone is incubating, the Saint Meteorite clone is still continuing to comprehend the fusion law, and the main body has begun to study the Kunlun mirror and the Kaishan sect inheritance tower. Li Yang's fusion law progress is so fast, obviously relying on the Saint Meteorite clone. The top Saint Meteorite can even fully master the three fusion laws. At this time, Li Yang has only mastered 1/3 of the three fusion laws, and has not yet reached the limit of his Saint Meteorite clone. Although it is unknown where its limit is, the mysterious small sword internal skills that Li Yang practices can elevate the world tree to such a level, and the life level of the Saint Meteorite clone must have been improved, and the corresponding fusion law talent has also been improved. After many thoughts in his mind, Li Yang turned his attention to the Kunlun mirror. In fact, for Li Yang, the Kunlun mirror is not completely mastered now. The power and pressure he released with the help of the Kunlun mirror is only what the Kunlun mirror itself has, and he just forced it out. There are many secret patterns for operation in the Kunlun mirror. Those secret patterns are somewhat similar to the secret patterns of laws. According to Li Yang's judgment, the difficulty of mastering them is about the same as that of integrating laws. Li Yang has not even mastered the first layer of secret patterns yet. Li Yang's consciousness sank into the Kunlun mirror and he checked those secret patterns. After becoming stronger, these secret patterns seem to be a little simpler. According to estimates, I should be able to master the first layer of secret patterns in hundreds of years. At this time, Li Yang thought to himself, is it because my strength has improved? These secret patterns are very difficult. Li Yang was able to comprehend the integrated laws so quickly because he had the Saint Meteorite clone. And the secret patterns of the Kunlun mirror do not allow him to master them quickly. According to Li Yang's previous estimates, it would take at least thousands of years for him to master the first layer of secret patterns, which was still less. It might take longer. And now, Li Yang clearly feels that the difficulty of analyzing the secret patterns in the Kunlun mirror has been much simpler. It may not be a change in strength, but the bigger reason may be that my soul has undergone a transformation. The strength of the soul represents the strength of comprehension. Geniuses all have strong souls, which also shows that a strong soul has great benefits for understanding the laws and so on. Li Yang calmed down and began to comprehend carefully. And a year later, his consciousness entered the Caixin sect inheritance tower again. The Caixin sect inheritance tower is divided into 5 floors. Although Li Yang has become the owner of the Caixin sect inheritance tower at this time, his consciousness can only enter the first floor. The method to enter the second floor has 2 conditions. These 2 conditions also stopped Li Yang before, because the first condition is that Li Yang has the strength of the ancestor of creation. Li Yang certainly couldn't do this condition, but before Li Yang's soul transformed, he tried it and really achieved one of the conditions for entering the second floor of the Caixin sect inheritance tower. As for the other condition, it is to crack a secret pattern. Compared with the secret patterns given by Taoist Tianxu on the 99 talent ladders of Caixin sect, the difficulty of the secret patterns is obviously much more difficult, which is why Li Yang first studied the secret patterns of Kunlun mirror. The secret patterns inside the Kunlun mirror are helpful for cracking the secret patterns of Caixin sect's inheritance tower. Time flies, and next Li Yang will study the secret patterns of Kunlun mirror, and then study the inheritance tower of Caixin sect. And in this research, 10 years passed in a flash. Li Yang's ancestral dragon clone was finally born. Thanks to 08 for the 100 rewards, thank you. End of this chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 884. Inside the palace, Li Yang silently deciphered the secret pattern in front of him. This is the secret pattern of the second floor of the Caixin sect inheritance tower. In 10 years, Li Yang has deciphered half of it, and there is still half left. There are 2 conditions for entering the second floor of the inheritance tower, one of which is to rival the ancestor of creation, and Li Yang has met them. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow circled M. As long as this pattern is deciphered, Li Yang can truly enter the second floor of the inheritance tower. In the first floor of the inheritance tower, there are many fusion law inheritance secrets, peak holy artifacts, and even a supreme holy artifact. What is in the second floor? Li Yang is looking forward to it. According to the Taoist Tianxu who left the inheritance before, there is likely to be a supreme holy artifact in it. At this time, if Li Yang has a supreme holy artifact suitable for him, his strength will undoubtedly be even stronger. While deciphering, Li Yang suddenly had an idea. The ancestor dragon clone is about to be born, his eyes showed great excitement. Deep in the ocean of the earth, a white tree flickered slightly. Li Yang's soul transformed, and the soul of the world tree clone also transformed. At this time, no one could imagine that on a small planet like the Earth, there was actually a powerful person at the level of the Creator. To be precise, including the octopus clone, there should be 2 powerful people at the level of the Creator. Buzz. The world tree fluctuated slightly, and in its gestation space, a life finally took shape completely, and then broke through the gestation space and appeared in the ocean. This is a small beast more than 1 meter long. The small beast has a slender body and is purple all over. Although the whole body is small, it is covered with scales, and there are extremely complex patterns on many scales. The secret patterns on the scales seem to represent the truth of heaven and earth, and even a glance at it can't help but fall into it. And on its abdomen, it has 9 claws, which looks extremely noble. Is this the clone of the ancestor dragon? Although Li Yang is in the eternal temple of the human race, his consciousness has been paying attention to this side. In fact, he had seen the corpse of the ancestor dragon appear in the sun in the solar system. Let's see what the situation of this ancestor dragon is, Li Yang said secretly in his heart. The ancestor dragon is a complete secret in the universe, and many powerful people know very little about it. In the endless years, the ancestor dragon has appeared several times, and when it appeared, Its strength was at the level of the ancestor of creation. It is recognized that the ancestor of creation cannot die. There are only about 20 ancestors of creation in the entire universe, and none of them died. However, several corpses of ancestor dragons were found in the entire universe. Corpses at the level of ancestor of creation. And they appeared several times. No one knows how this ancestor dragon died. No one has the ability to kill him. Did he die naturally? Or was he killed by the rules of the universe? Secrets, these are all secrets. Even if you meet a living ancestor dragon, you can't catch it, and you can only catch a dead ancestor dragon. Therefore, few people know the mystery of the ancestor dragon. Everyone only knows that the ancestral dragon is full of treasures, and its blood can be refined. Even the master level strong can refine it to improve their own strength. Just because of this, the ancestral dragon has become a treasure that countless tribes in the universe want to fight for. Li Yang killed many strong men, and most of them had a few drops of the ancestral dragon's blood. This also represents the preciousness of the ancestral dragon's blood. Every strong man who has the opportunity almost tries to refine it. Li Yang calmed down and carefully checked the situation of his clone. At this time, the ancestral dragon has become Li Yang's clone, and Li Yang naturally knows its own secrets. And this check, Li Yang's eyes suddenly showed surprise. There was a trace of shock in his eyes, and he noticed a trace of mystery in his body. No wonder the ancestral dragon is at the level of the ancestor of creation. When you meet it, it turns out to be like this. The limit of the master level is to fully master the 3 fusion laws. In fact, even if you master the 3 fusion laws, it is not necessarily possible to perfectly build your own world. This step has stumped many strong men. How many top masters are only one step away from the ancestor of creation, but they are trapped for endless years and cannot break through, that is, they cannot complete the last step. And under Li Yang's investigation, his ancestor dragon's body actually has a world in it. That's right. The world that the ancestor of creation spent a lot of hard work to build, the ancestor dragon has it directly since birth. With this world, it's like a natural god of fire ghost beast. As long as the ancestor dragon grows up normally, it will be the ancestor of creation. Li Yang exclaimed. What is the darling of the universe? This is the darling of the universe. The limit of a powerful life like Shenjiun is the top master. And the ancestor dragon obviously exceeds Shenjiun. The entire universe has always been controversial. Some people believe that the ancestor dragon is a natural ancestor, and some people believe that the ancestor dragon is a natural master. Now Li Yang can clearly say that the ancestor dragon is a natural ancestor of creation. And the world that each ancestor dragon brings is different. After being amazed, Li Yang continued to explore. The fire spirit beast, born as a god, can only master the laws of fire when it grows up. The time tree, born as a god, can only master the laws of time when it grows up. But the ancestral dragon is different. Each ancestral dragon is different, and the world it controls is also different. There are a total of 57 fusion laws in the entire universe. According to your own situation, you can choose any 3 fusion laws to form a world. The ancestral dragon clone carries any 3 of these 57 fusion laws in its own world. Against the will of heaven. This obviously further illustrates the ancestral dragon clones against the will of heaven. The world that my ancestral dragon clone carries is formed by 3 fusion laws, namely the law of life, the law of wood, the law of death, the law of earth, the law of darkness, and the law of gold. As long as Li Yang's ancestral dragon clone grows up, it will naturally master 6 single system laws such as life and wood, and 3 fusion laws. There are 5 different from what I have already comprehended, and only the law of gold is repeated at this time, Li Yang thought silently. He now masters 6 laws, among which the law of gold has been perfectly mastered, and it has been integrated with the law of space by more than 1/3. Now, the ancestral dragon clone is born to master the fusion law of darkness and gold. However, there are duplications in the fusion laws. There are only 13 laws in the entire universe, and 57 paths to fusion laws. It is normal for duplications to exist. Some strong men merge the space law with the wood law, and some strong men merge the space law with the water law. Some strong men only master 3 laws, such as time, wood, and fire, and comprehend the time and wood fusion laws, and the time and fire fusion laws respectively. These are not contradictory. There are many paths to fusion laws, and you can choose any 3. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 885. 57 Ways to Merge the Laws, choose any 3. The most perfect limit is naturally to master all 57 ways to merge the laws. Of course, this is impossible. It is extremely difficult to comprehend any one of the fusion laws, and there is also an influence between the fusion laws. For example, after a strong man merges the law of time with the law of wood, he comprehends the law of time and the law of earth. This will inevitably be interfered by the previous fusion laws of time and wood. Li Yang carefully investigated and felt a little sorry. If the 6 laws mastered by the ancestor dragon are completely different from what he comprehended, it would be perfect. However, Li Yang is still very happy at this time. The ancestor dragon clone came out, and he is about to master 3 new fusion laws. Moreover, the ancestor dragon clone will definitely be able to form 3 fusion laws in the future, allowing him to easily become the ancestor of creation. As for the 3 originally mastered, Li Yang previously placed the opportunity for breakthrough on the ancestor dragon clone. Now it seems that there is no hope. However, Li Yang can directly choose another path. I have a saint fallen clone, and my soul has transformed to such a level. It will definitely not be a problem to master the 3 fusion laws I have comprehended now in the future. The 3 fusion laws of the ancestral dragon clone, plus the 3 that Li Yang comprehended, that is 6. Li Yang also knows something about the realm of the creator. To become the creator, if you want to make further progress, you must continue to comprehend the fusion law and make your world more perfect. Li Yang, in the future, you can use the world brought by the ancestral dragon clone as a basis and integrate the 3 fusion laws you have comprehended now into it. A world composed of 6 fusion laws, then Li Yang will definitely be able to easily become the strongest person in the entire universe. After checking the situation of the ancestral dragon clone, Li Yang's face was full of smiles. The ancestral dragon clone's talent is not complicated, it is just as simple as bringing a world. But if this talent is spread out, it will definitely cause a huge shock. However, why did the ancestral dragon die? At this time, Li Yang was still a little confused. He already knew the secrets of the ancestral dragon himself, but he didn't know the secret of his death. According to his understanding of his own situation, as long as the ancestor dragon grows up, it can also exist forever and will not die for no reason. However, there are several ancestor dragon corpses that have appeared publicly in the entire universe. In fact, it is entirely possible that there are some that have not been exposed. For example, the complete ancestor dragon corpse in the solar system was obtained by the human race alone, and no alien race in the outside world knew about it. Li Yang frowned slightly and thought about it for a while, but he couldn't figure it out. Forget it, don't think about it. Although he was puzzled, it was useless to think too much now. At this time, the ancestor dragon clone was just a tool for Li Yang to strengthen himself. Even if he fell, he had the world tree clone to revive it. Breakthrough first. The ancestor dragon clone, the world that comes with it naturally, will not change due to external factors. Therefore, at this time, Li Yang's ancestor dragon clone can completely rely on the laws of gold, space, time, etc. that Li Yang has now comprehended to break through to the realm of domination. The key is that the clone is the same as the soul of the original body, and it also needs the same realm. Only when the ancestral dragon clone breaks through and becomes the master, can its soul transform to the current level of Li Yang. Thinking in his heart, in front of Li Yang's ancestral dragon clone, a stream of resources appeared. The small ancestral dragon clone opened its mouth, and then these resources were directly swallowed by it. Then the ancestral dragon clone's realm began to break through continuously. The realm of law, the realm of longevity, the realm of Star Master, the realm of the world. In a blink of an eye, the ancestral dragon clone reached the peak of the world realm. Between heaven and earth, the endless origin of law descended. Breakthrough in the realm of God. Then, the origin of the fusion law descended. I don't know how long it took, and finally, all the surrounding scenes disappeared. At this time, the little beast on the bottom of the earth disappeared, and what appeared in front of Li Yang was an extremely ferocious giant beast. The giant beast was huge, with an overall length of tens of thousands of meters, a slender body, covered with countless ancient and complex secret scales, and 9 claws under the abdomen. Kongli Jiaolong, the life level is famous in the universe, and its appearance is almost perfect. Even the peak tribes such as the human race and the demon race have to admit the strength of the Kongli Jiaolong tribe. It is just missing a founding ancestor. If it appears, the Kongli Jiaolong tribe will immediately become the 11th peak tribe in the universe. However, in front of the giant beast in front of him, the Kongli Jiaolong is like a simplified version of it. Its overall appearance is like the scene when Li Yang saw the birth of the ancestral dragon in the sun. If the ancestral dragon clone is resurrected, Li Yang's ancestral dragon clone will fight with it, and it is not certain who will win or lose. Haha, the breakthrough is successful. Next, the ancestral dragon clone will concentrate on comprehending the 6 laws and 3 fusion laws that he has mastered. Seeing his own ancestral dragon clone become so powerful in the blink of an eye, Li Yang's face was full of smiles. Even if you are born with the world, you still need to comprehend those fusion laws yourself. It's okay not to comprehend. As the ancestral dragon grows, these fusion laws will be mastered automatically. However, it takes a long time for the ancestral dragon to reach maturity. In the memory passed down by Li Yang's ancestral dragon clone, the only thing the ancestral dragon needs to do after it is born is to sleep. Hide in a secluded place and sleep until it matures. Then he will be the ancestor of creation when he wakes up. However, Li Yang naturally cannot wait slowly. The diligent ancestor dragon can also greatly shorten his maturity period. Moreover, the soul of the ancestor dragon clone has also transformed at this time, and it is equal to Li Yang. The transformed soul will make the ancestor dragon grow faster. Roar. Deep in the seabed of the earth, a giant beast like a real dragon roared, and its figure kept shrinking, and finally shrank to 1,000 meters long. It stayed in the deep sea and began to comprehend with peace of mind. Everything is ready, and all we need to do next is wait. Li Yang had a smile on his face. At this time, his path to becoming the ancestor of creation was extremely smooth, and there was no more obstacles. The breeding of the ancestor dragon clone was obviously more perfect than Li Yang expected. After all, what he thought before was just to rely on the ancestor dragon clone to break through and become the ancestor of creation. After this clone was bred, Li Yang continued to practice in seclusion, and also studied the Kunlun Mirror and the Kaishan Sect Inheritance Tower. For Li Yang, his strength was already so strong that the path of cultivation was also extremely smooth, and he didn't need to do anything else. While he was comprehending, another 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, Li Yang's consciousness was on the first floor of the Kaishan Sect's Inheritance Tower, and he was deciphering the secret pattern. At a certain time, Li Yang suddenly showed an extremely bright smile on his face. The first floor of the Inheritance Tower, successfully cracked. Thanks to Junlin Tian Xiaoshiro looking for the 500 reward, and 08 for the 100 reward, thank you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, Ji-Difeng Ren. Chapter 886. In front of Li Yang, the extremely complex pattern kept changing. And at a certain time, the whole pattern suddenly changed. The whole complex pattern that seemed to have no rules suddenly became simple and looked perfect. As the pattern was formed, the obstacles in front of him disappeared completely. Success. Li Yang's face showed great joy. He completed the 2 conditions for going from the first floor to the second floor of the Kaishan Sect's inheritance tower. Google searched "can see what's on the second floor of the inheritance tower." Li Yang's eyes were full of expectation, and his consciousness quickly entered the second floor of the inheritance tower. There must be a supreme holy weapon. Kaishan sect is a weapon refining sect, and it seems that there is no shortage of powerful weapons. According to Taoist Tianxu, this inheritance tower is to better cultivate inheritors, and the bestowal of better self-defense weapons is also included in the cultivation. The first floor of the inheritance tower has a supreme holy weapon, and it stands to reason that the second floor should also have one. Li Yang looked forward to it, and his consciousness entered instantly. It is still an extremely vast world, and there is no end in sight. Less than a second after arriving here, Li Yang's eyes suddenly showed an extremely excited look. His consciousness came here involuntarily, and here, there are 3 weapons. One is a huge black sword. The whole sword spans the sky. I don't know how long it is. It emits endless faint light, and a monstrous evil spirit emanates from it. One is a golden armor. The whole armor looks very simple and simple. There are countless secret patterns on it. This secret pattern looks very ancient and is a bit similar to the secret pattern on the Kaishan sect's secret pattern. The whole golden armor is no less than the black sword, and the fluctuation is no less. The last one is a purple tower. The tower has only 1 layer, and the purple light is emitted from it, covering a large area around it. Feel it carefully, you can completely feel the powerful binding force on this purple tower. Li Yang looked at these 3 weapons, and the whole person was excited at this time. 3 supreme holy weapons. At this time, the power of this black sword, golden armor, and purple tower is no less than the previous red and gold wings. Li Yang couldn't believe it and was stunned by this huge surprise. He had previously guessed that there might be a supreme holy artifact in the inheritance tower, but now, it obviously exceeded his expectations. In the entire universe, the appearance of a new supreme holy artifact will cause a huge sensation. For example, the red gold wings used by the ancestor of Hunyuan before. And now, 3 supreme holy artifacts. If the situation here is spread, it is estimated that it will instantly detonate the entire universe. Excited, Li Yang did not hesitate at all, and his consciousness quickly contacted these 3 supreme holy artifacts. It is actually very difficult for the supreme holy artifact to recognize its master, such as recognizing the Kunlun mirror at the beginning. This kind of treasure has already given birth to its own consciousness. If you want to forcibly master it, it takes a lot of time. The ownerless supreme holy artifacts encountered in the outside world also require various conditions to recognize their masters. However, the supreme holy artifact in the Kaishan sect inheritance tower does not have this condition, and the consciousness inside is also completely suppressed. The soul imprint can be easily left on it, so that the recognition of the master is successful. After all 3 souls were imprinted, the information of these 3 treasures also appeared directly in Li Yang's mind at this time. Black Cosmic Blade, Attack Type Supreme Sacred Artifact. Golden Mixed Armor, Defense Type Supreme Sacred Artifact. Purple Sea Tower, Domain Binding Supreme Sacred Artifact. Before, the first floor of the Inheritance Tower was a Speed Type Supreme Sacred Artifact, and now the second floor is attack, defense, and domain-binding supreme sacred artifacts. Li Yang thought to himself. Obviously, Caishan sect has considered it for the inheritor. The previous speed-type supreme sacred artifact greatly increased his ability to save his life. And now entering the second floor, it means that he has the strength of the ancestor of creation. At this time, a complete set of supreme sacred artifacts means that he is definitely the peak powerhouse among the ancestor of creation. Haha, 4 supreme sacred artifacts are in hand. After learning about the information of these supreme sacred artifacts, Li Yang was even more excited. In the entire universe, among the 20 ancestors of creation, the one who has the most supreme sacred artifacts is only 2 supreme sacred artifacts. And Li Yang now has a full set, and he also has an additional supreme sacred artifact in the binding domain similar to the brilliant galaxy. As expected of the mysterious and powerful Caishan sect, Li Yang was delighted. This is definitely the most suitable treasure for him. After a long while, Li Yang restrained his excitement and looked at other areas on the second floor of the inheritance tower. 50 peak holy artifacts. He took a look and found that there were not only the supreme holy artifacts but also the peak holy artifacts, which were much more than on the first floor. In addition, there were more weapon roughs. There are so many, Li Yang was surprised. There were more than 1,000 weapon roughs on the first floor of the inheritance tower, which was already shocking to him. And on this second floor, there were tens of thousands of weapon roughs. Although each weapon rough was a semi-finished product, its power could rival the top holy artifact. And if the subsequent parts of these weapon roughs were perfectly refined, there would be tens of thousands of peak holy artifacts. In addition, there was another weapon rough that was even more powerful, and its power actually reached the level of peak holy artifacts. The semi-finished products are all peak holy artifacts. After the subsequent parts of this weapon are perfectly refined, will it be a supreme holy artifact? Li Yang couldn't help thinking. The supreme holy artifacts are extremely rare, but the Caishan sect actually took out one supreme holy artifact after another. It seems that they are fully capable of refining weapons of this level. Weapons one by one, as well as numerous weapon refining secrets, clearly indicate that Caishan sect seems to pay more attention to weapon refining. Huh? There is a secret book next to the semi-finished pinnacle holy weapon. Li Yang looked at one place. He checked the secret books, and a look of shock suddenly appeared in his eyes. He is really the one who refines the supreme holy weapon. He just guessed, but the secret book next to the weapon explained in detail that the semi-finished product is the unfinished supreme holy weapon, waiting for Li Yang to perfect the subsequent parts and completely refine it. Moreover, the detailed steps for subsequent refining were also given to Li Yang. Of course, Li Yang knew nothing about refining weapons. He could not even refine a divine weapon, let alone a supreme holy weapon. At this time, these were completely like a book from heaven. In addition, there are restrictions on this secret book. Li Yang can tell the inheritance of the law of fusion, etc., and directly let the human race make a copy. However, these methods of refining holy weapons can only be seen by Li Yang himself and cannot be passed on to others. This Caishan sect values the inheritance of weapon refining more than the inheritance of the fusion law, Li Yang thought to himself. But it's normal to think about it. The inheritance of laws is actually very similar, but the techniques for refining the supreme holy weapon are estimated to be different among different weapon refiners. It's normal for them to be classified as sect secrets. End of chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 887. Li Yang took a quick look at the method of refining the supreme holy weapon and then retracted his gaze. He had no idea of refining the weapon now. A rough estimate showed that if he started learning refining from now on, it would take tens of thousands of years, and he might not be able to refine an ordinary holy weapon. Skipping the information about the inheritance of refining the weapon, Li Yang came to another place. There are also some inheritance secrets, light balls, etc. here. Seeing these, Li Yang's eyes lit up again. Cultivation of the realm of the ancestor of creation. His path to becoming the ancestor of creation is already very smooth. When he reaches this step in the future, he will have to consider the cultivation of the realm of the ancestor of creation. The entire human race knows very little about the realm of the ancestor of creation. The ancestor of Hunyuan and the ancestor of Yongheng are also groping for cultivation. The key is that there is not much inheritance in this regard. The only way is to integrate more fusion laws into the universe world created by oneself, making his universe more powerful. At this time, the information about this aspect from Caixin sect is just timely rain, which he is eager to get. Concealing his excitement, Li Yang is watching. There are two ways to reach the limit of the creator realm. The first is to merge the 3 fusion laws you have comprehended again, and the 6 fusion laws form a single one. The second is to comprehend 6 more fusion laws. 3 fusion laws build the most basic first-order universe, and 9 fusion laws become the second-order universe. Li Yang looked at the information carefully. 9? You actually need to comprehend 9 fusion laws to reach the limit of the creator. Li Yang was shocked. In this way, all the creators in the entire universe are basically at the most basic stage. Because, Li Yang knew that even the Hunyuan ancestor only fully mastered 4 fusion laws. Of course, the Hunyuan ancestor also comprehended others, but did not master them thoroughly. I still lack 3. Li Yang thought silently. The 3 he had comprehended now, plus the 3 that the ancestral dragon clone had, only 6 fusion laws, at most reaching the intermediate level of the creator. If I want to comprehend quickly, I have to breed another clone similar to the proto-dragon. Li Yang thought of other proto-dragon. Each proto-dragon is born with a different world. If he breeds a few more proto-dragon, he will definitely reach the 9 fusion laws. However, the world tree has a limit on breeding clones, that is, it will not breed the same life. If you choose a proto-dragon as your clone, it is impossible for the second clone to still be the proto-dragon. The proto-dragon itself carries a different world, but the genes of the proto-dragon are basically the same. The next goal is to find a powerful creature similar to the proto-dragon. Li Yang took a deep breath. In the entire universe, the proto-dragon is the highest level of life. No powerful life that can match the proto-dragon has been found. This search must be very difficult. Of course, Li Yang is not in a hurry now. It has not been long since he became the master, and there is still a long way to go before he can create the ancestor. He is not in a hurry to solve the remaining 3 fusion laws for the time being. Consciousness was withdrawn from the inheritance tower, and Li Yang's face was full of smiles. In general, Li Yang was mostly surprised when he entered the second floor of the inheritance tower. At this moment, Li Yang suddenly looked at his watch. Teacher is looking for me. The eternal ancestor sent a message, asking him to quickly enter the virtual world. At this time, Li Yang was actually no longer in the eternal temple of the human race, but in the fusion law inheritance land. He still has more than 2,000 years of inheritance time here. In terms of inheritance effect, the fusion law inheritance land is much stronger than the Caixin sect. As for the Caixin sect inheritance tower and Kunlun mirror, they are all studied by Li Yang's clones. Teacher is looking for me. What happened? Li Yang thought to himself. The eternal ancestor knew that he was in retreat and basically would not take the initiative to look for him. If he looked for him, it must be because something happened. With the thought in his mind, Li Yang directly entered the virtual world. As soon as he entered, he saw the eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor talking about something, and both of them looked unhappy. Li Yang seeing Li Yang, the eternal ancestor waved his hand quickly. Li Yang walked over and asked directly, "Teacher, what happened?" The eternal ancestor's face darkened slightly and said, "Not long ago, the demon race Blood Dove ancestor took action and captured the Tian High Lord of my human race and learned about the inheritance of Kaishan section. What? Hearing this, Li Yang's face changed. The Tian High Lord is an ordinary lord of the human race. The demon race's Blood Dove ancestor actually captured him. A creation ancestor, who specializes in dealing with ordinary lords. Although the entire universe is constantly killing and the major ethnic groups are competing with each other, everyone still abides by the underlying rules. Among them, the strong must not slaughter the weak, which is the most basic. Otherwise, you slaughter the weak of my tribe, and I will retaliate and slaughter the weak of your tribe. Killing like this will not benefit any tribe. As for the creation ancestor, this is an existence that stands at the top of the universe and cannot fall, and he does not bother to take action against the Lord. The eternal ancestor said in a deep voice, "Now the demon race has spread the news, united with all the major peak races, and all the major peak forces in the universe, and asked us humans to hand over our inheritance, otherwise they will descend on us. Go to our 3,000 star continents and kill us wantonly." Speaking of this, the face of the eternal ancestor was also extremely gloomy. Threats, the demon race and others are obviously naked threats. Hunyuan and I were just thinking about how to deal with this matter. The eternal ancestor looked at Li Yang. In fact, before Li Yang obtained the inheritance of Kaishan sect, the eternal ancestor had already asked the dominant masters of the human race to return to the human race. The dominant masters also have adventures outside, and it is impossible for them to stay in the human race all the time. Among them, the Tian High Master is far away. Unexpectedly, before returning to the human race, he was ambushed by the demon race's ancestor of creation. Such a strong man suddenly took action, and it was easy to control an ordinary master, and he could also search for relevant information from his mind. The inheritance of Kaishan sect, before, except for the human race, other races had no idea what this inheritance was, so they did not take any action. But now the news is completely exposed. The inheritance of 57 complete fusion laws. At this stage, when any race has extremely simple research on the fusion law, absolutely no race can resist this temptation. This is not the last battle before the talent ladder. At that time, the major tribes were just competing for inheritance, so the number of strong men who came was not large, and many treasures were not brought out. The demon tribe attacked the human race, and 2/3 of the strong men chose to watch. But this time, most of the tribes in the universe will definitely take action, and it is impossible to watch. Next to the eternal ancestor, the Hunyuan ancestor also had an ugly face. He looked at Li Yang and said, "Li Yang, what I discussed with Eternal is that this time we will meet with the demon coalition, and then you will show your strength and kill a group of masters with your soul to shock the demon tribe. Thanks to 08 for the 100 rewards, thank you." End of this chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 888. Li Yang's strength is now known only to the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. The soul pressure that crushes the Creator Ancestor. Such strength suddenly erupted, which would definitely cause great losses to the Demon Clan and other coalition forces. The Hunyuan Ancestor looked at Li Yang and said, "Li Yang, when you kill those alien masters with your soul, the first choice is those alien masters with clones." The Hunyuan Ancestor had experienced Li Yang's terrible soul before. With 2 supreme holy artifacts, the Hunyuan Ancestor was suppressed by Li Yang to the Master Realm. As for the Master level, absolutely no one could withstand Li Yang's soul impact. Under Li Yang's soul sweep, any master would be easily killed by the soul. Like the Hunyuan Ancestor, even if he kills the master, he can only kill those without clones. If there is a clone, it can't be killed at all. The master with clones is also the most difficult to kill. Even if they face the ancestor of creation, they are not afraid of anything. However, under Li Yang's soul killing, the clone is useless. As long as a group of masters are killed, and they still have clones, then there will definitely be many tribes that will be afraid and dare not deal with the human race. They will withdraw from the coalition team. The human race has two ancestors of creation, and many tribes in the universe dare to provoke them. However, when Li Yang shows his strength, the major clones will show the strength of the ancestor of creation, and the entire human race has 10 ancestors of creation. In this case, how many tribes dare to provoke the human race again? It is estimated that the strength of the coalition team such as the demon race will drop suddenly. Although the human race is powerful, it is still unable to resist the power of many tribes in the entire universe. After the strength of the coalition drops greatly, the pressure on the human race will obviously be much smaller. This is the method they discussed. Hearing what the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor said, Li Yang frowned slightly. The demon race's blood dove ancestor was so insidious that he attacked ordinary human masters. The news of the inheritance of the fusion law was completely exposed. It is estimated that the tribes with masters in the universe cannot resist this temptation. After all, any master who practices is extremely eager to obtain the inheritance related to the fusion law. Frowning slightly, Li Yang asked, "Teacher, how many demons are there in the coalition?" The Eternal Ancestor said, "It is not clear yet, but it is estimated that there are 15 creators who have taken action, and there are more than 2,000 masters. There are many masters in the entire universe. There are nearly 30 masters in the human race, and as for the subordinate tribes, there are many people. The masters of these vassal tribes occupy the majority, with a total of 150. After all, even if there is only one master in the vassal tribe, if the number exceeds 150, there will be 150 masters. This is the case for the human race, and it is the same for other peak tribes. The number of masters of vassal tribes exceeds 150. Therefore, the number of masters coming to deal with the human race from the 9 peak tribes such as the demon tribe alone can easily exceed 1,500. In addition to the Cosmic Power Alliance, the Star Alliance, etc., their alliances have many tribes, and the number of masters is much more than that of the peak tribes such as the human race and the demon tribe. In general, it is normal for the number of masters to exceed 2,000. Of course, this number sounds a lot, but in the entire universe, there are only more than 2,000 masters, and no more than 3,000 at most. After the Eternal Ancestor said this number, his heart was obviously a little solemn. The leakage of the Kaishan sect inheritance has caused at least 90% of the tribes with masters in the entire universe to deal with the human race. Just kidding, the major tribes are all extremely simple in the inheritance of the fusion law. If they get the Kaishan sect inheritance, the strength of each of their tribes will definitely be greatly improved. To deal with the human race alone, some tribes simply don't dare. But when they unite, everyone's courage has also grown. With so many strong men, even if Li Yang had clones with the strength of the ancestor of creation, he couldn't actually deal with them. "Li Yang, what do you think?" Looking at Li Yang's expression, the ancestor of Hunyuan asked. "The next battle obviously concerns the entire fate of the human race. If you are not careful, the disaster can be imagined. Li Yang has actually become the main force of the human race, and his deterrent power is greater than that of him and the ancestor of eternity. After all, neither he nor the ancestor of eternity have clones." Hearing the question from the ancestor of Hunyuan, Li Yang did not answer. He said, "Teacher, ancestor of Hunyuan, I have something to tell you." "Oh? What is it?" The ancestor of eternity and the ancestor of Hunyuan looked at each other. At this time, what Li Yang said must be very important. Li Yang said, "Before, I was studying the first floor of the Kaishan sect inheritance tower, and just now, I finally entered the second floor." The ancestor of eternity and the ancestor of Hunyuan heard what Li Yang said and understood. Li Yang told them that the Caixin sect inheritance tower is divided into 5 floors, but it is very difficult to climb to a higher level. Li Yang, what is in the second floor of Caixin sect? The ancestor of Hunyuan couldn't help asking. Before, Li Yang told him that there might be a supreme holy weapon in the second floor of Caixin sect. The eyes of Yongheng ancestor also showed expectation. At this time, if the human race has one more supreme holy weapon, it will be of great significance. Under the gaze of the two, Li Yang did not waste time and said directly, there are supreme holy weapons in the second floor of the inheritance tower, and there are 3 of them, namely attack, defense, and domain binding. He knew this before, and originally planned to talk to Yongheng ancestor and Hunyuan ancestor. It's just that the 2 eternal ancestors came to him directly before they found them. Such a thing happened to the human race. After Li Yang finished speaking, the eyes of the eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor changed suddenly, and the momentum fluctuations on their bodies could not help but radiate. They stared at Li Yang, especially the Hunyuan ancestor, with an amazing light in their eyes, and said, Li Yang, are you serious? Li Yang couldn't lie to them, he knew it, but at this time, the Hunyuan ancestor still couldn't believe it. 3 supreme holy artifacts. In the entire universe, the demon Cloud Star Lord who has the most holy artifacts now has only 2 supreme holy artifacts. The eternal ancestor also looked at Li Yang, his eyes flashing, and there was a faint excitement in his eyes. Li Yang waved his right hand, and suddenly 3 weapons appeared, and some related information also appeared. Teacher, Hunyuan ancestor, this is the information of the 3 supreme holy artifacts in the Caixin sect inheritance tower. The Hunyuan ancestor looked at the treasures that appeared in front of Li Yang, especially the black sword. This is a supreme holy weapon for attack. Okay. At this moment, the eyes of the Hunyuan ancestor suddenly showed excitement, and he hurriedly said, Li Yang, lend me the red gold wings and this black universe sword. With these 2 supreme holy weapons, plus your soul pressure, I am sure to kill a creator ancestor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 889. Hunyuan ancestor looked at Li Yang and said directly, there was nothing polite about it. The supreme holy weapon of attack, Hunyuan ancestor has no idea how much he longs for it. His strength is among the top among the founders of the world, but he lacked the supreme holy weapon before. Before using the speed-type supreme holy weapon Red Gold Wings, the Hunyuan ancestor's strength suddenly leapt forward, and he could even be undefeated in the face of more than a dozen creation ancestors. In fact, speed is not what the Hunyuan ancestor is good at. Every strong person has something he is good at, and what the Hunyuan ancestor is good at is attack. Invincible at the same level. Hunyuan ancestor has fought all the way from weak to strong. With the same attack, even if the opponent has exactly the same strength as him, he can exert more powerful power from that attack. Others can exert 100% of the power of the supreme sacred artifact, but Hunyuan ancestor can exert 130%, or even 150% of the effect. Born to fight? The eternal ancestor also had a look of excitement on his face at this time. Previously, one of the plans of the chaotic origin ancestor to kill the creation ancestor was to obtain an offensive supreme holy weapon. Just now they were looking forward to seeing an attack weapon on the second floor of Li Yang Heritage Tower, but they didn't expect not only that, but also others. Li Yang nodded and said, Ancestor of Hunyuan, I will return from the place where the law of fusion is inherited immediately. Then I will give you the black universe sword and red gold wings. The pressure of his soul is strong, but his strength is too weak. Even if he is given a supreme holy weapon to attack, he will not be able to break through the defense of the founder of the world. Therefore, the Black Universe Saber is undoubtedly the best for the Hunyuan ancestor to use. The three of them were talking, and the solemn atmosphere just now disappeared because of the three supreme holy artifacts Li Yang mentioned. The pressure in the heart of the eternal ancestor suddenly weakened a lot. He thought for a while and said, since Li Yang has three supreme holy weapons, then our plan must be changed. This time, we must take action and solve the problem as much as possible. Get rid of the strength of the demon clan and other coalition forces. Kill the founder of the world. If this plan succeeds, then it is absolutely impossible for anyone to dare to provoke the human race. After all, even the strongest member of the ethnic group may be killed. Which ethnic group is not afraid of the human race? Previously, the major peak groups were tied together. The reason was that the founder of the world could not be killed. Only the ethnic group has a founding ancestor, and that is the most pinnacle ethnic group in the universe. After the founder of the world is killed, this balance will definitely be broken. By then, the human race will be the only peak race in the universe. Eternity is right. There was a frightening light in the eyes of Hunyuan ancestor. The territory of our human race is equivalent to that of the demon clan, metal clan, etc. After this battle, if we kill enough strong men, the demon clan, metal clan, etc. will never dare to occupy the same territory again. My human race has considerable territory, and they will retreat on their own initiative. The universe is all about strength. What kind of strength can you get? In the entire universe, territory is very important. In a certain area, within a certain period of time, the number of geniuses born is about the same. The more territories, the more geniuses will be born. At the beginning, the top groups such as the human race and the monster race fought for endless years over territorial matters, leading to the current situation. And once the human race becomes the only peak race in the universe, how can it be satisfied with the same territory as the demon race, metal race, etc.? For example, the Kongli Dragon clan, Thunder Star Beast clan, etc., they also have many clan leaders, but they do not have the founder of the world, so they are suppressed by the top 10 peak clans. Their territory is far inferior to that of the top 10 peak groups, not even 1/5 of it, and their location is not in the core area. If you are weak, you must have the consciousness of being weak. When our human race occupies more territory, more geniuses appear, and with the inheritance of Kaishan sex fusion law, our human race will definitely dominate the entire universe. The eyes of Hunyuan ancestor flashed with ambition. It has always been his goal to make humans the most powerful ethnic group in the universe. Now, there is undoubtedly hope. The Hunyuan ancestor was talking, the eternal ancestor was also putting forward his own opinions, and Li Yang said a few words from time to time. Now, the three of them are the strongest in the human race, and this time they are completely counting on them in the battle with the monster race and other coalition forces. Teacher, eternal ancestor, I won't say any more. Just let me know your plan after you have discussed it. After staying in the virtual world for a while, Li Yang exited the virtual world again. The eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor have lived for endless years, and there will definitely be no omissions in the plans they made. Li Yang left, leaving the two eternal ancestors to continue perfecting the plan. Watching Li Yang leave, Hunyuan ancestor couldn't help but sigh, son of destiny, Li Yang is truly the son of destiny for our human race. In a short period of time, the destiny of our human race will be greatly changed because of him. The eternal ancestor did not speak, but at this time there was a smile on his face. Li Yang's rise has not been long, it has only been more than 2,000 years so far. And Li Yang can now compete with the founder of the world. He also has many clones, each of which has the fighting power of the founder of the world. The speed of Li Yang's rise can be called a miracle in the universe. And in the process of his rise, he also brought many benefits to the human race. Kill every alien and get the complete inheritance of the law of fusion. Bringing you pieces of the most sacred artifacts. And the next battle will even change the pattern of the entire universe. In the future, we will enter an era of human dominance. After sighing, the eternal ancestor said, Hunyuan, the key to this battle is to kill the creator ancestor. Only if we succeed can we solve all the problems in one fell swoop. If the creator ancestor cannot be killed, the situation of the parallel forces cannot be changed. The battle between the coalition forces and the human race will not stop. Don't worry. Hunyuan ancestor nodded, with an extremely confident light in his eyes. The 90% possibility I said to kill the creator ancestor is to kill the creator ancestor with the supreme holy artifact. If it doesn't succeed, then I will kill the creator ancestor without the supreme holy artifact. Possessing the supreme holy artifact and not having the supreme holy artifact are two completely different situations. And half of the 20 or so creator ancestors in the universe do not have the supreme holy artifact. So, in this battle, Hunyuan ancestor is confident that there will definitely be a creator ancestor who falls. As the eternal ancestor and Hunyuan ancestor were talking, Li Yang left the place where the fusion law was inherited and stayed in the aircraft. His consciousness sank into the Kunlun mirror. Continue to study the Kunlun mirror. The Kunlun mirror has a strong soul impact, but that was all driven by Li Yang. The secret patterns inside the Kunlun mirror are the core of driving the Kunlun mirror. After 20 years of research, Li Yang has mastered some power, making the soul impact stronger. Now he naturally has to continue researching and strive to make the soul impact stronger when facing the alien coalition. As long as it is a little stronger, maybe he can kill a few more masters. In this research, 2 months passed in a blink of an eye. Li Yang also returned to the eternal temple of the human race. Thanks to Junlin Tianxiashiro looking for the 1500 reward, and thanks to 08A for the 100 reward, thank you. End of this chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 890. Boom. 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 In the virtual world of the universe, consciousnesses are coming one after another, and the shadows of powerful men emerge one after another. These phantoms have different shapes and completely different looks, but each of them exudes monstrous fluctuations. This is the fluctuation of the most powerful founder of the universe. One by one, the founders of the world, a total of 15, were all gathered here. The ancestors of Yunling, the ancestors of Stigmata, the ancestors of Wulin, how to arrange the strong men of your tribe. How many strong men are going to be dispatched this time, the blood dove ancestor of the demon clan said, looking at the figures. The gathering of many founding ancestors was naturally due to the inheritance of Kaishan sect. Our clan is preparing to dispatch 161 masters. My clan dispatches 158 masters. Each of the powerful founders spoke. There are more than 150 masters, which is almost the entire strength of a peak group. The major peak groups and forces are actually preparing to send out all the strong men in the clan. After finishing speaking, a ferocious creature whose abdomen was covered with feet and covered with red armor, and its entire body was also red, like a giant beetle, said, "The ancestor of the blood dove, the fusion of the Kaishan sect is the effect of law inheritance, really what you said." The news came from the Monster Clan, and this alliance was also proposed by the Monster Clan. In fact, it has only been a short time since the news about the inheritance of the Kaishan sect spread, and it has only been a few minutes since the ancestor of the demon race, the blood dove, captured the human race's ruler of the sky and sea. This was the first time these founders met. The other founders did not speak. They were also waiting for the answer from the blood dove ancestor. The ancestor of the blood dove looked coldly and said, "I have controlled the human race's Tian High Lord." According to his memory, the Kaishan sect inheritance obtained by human Li Yang not only has the complete inheritance of 57 fusion laws, but also the effects of those inheritances very good, at least equivalent to 1% of the effect of the fusion law inheritance place. He glanced at the dozen or so figures around him. You all know that in the place where the fusion law is inherited, even if you are lucky enough to get a token and enter it, the inheritance time is limited. However, there is no limit to the inheritance of Kaishan sect. Taken together, the inheritance of Kaishan sect that the human race now has is equivalent to 1/10 of the inheritance of the fusion law. The words of the blood dove ancestor obviously caused great confusion in the eyes of each of the creation ancestors. 1/10 of the effect, if all the emperors of the human race come to understand it, there will definitely be an emperor who becomes the master. Even the masters of the human race may go one step further. In that place where the law of fusion is inherited, a total of 7 masters of our clan were born. There are 8 members of my clan. If more geniuses from our clan enter the place where the law of fusion is inherited, more powerful people will definitely be born. The place where the law of fusion is inherited is the most powerful force in the human race. I don't know how many strong men were born in it. There are them for all major ethnic groups. Without that place where the law of fusion is inherited, it is estimated that there would be 1/3 less of the more than 2,000 light masters in the entire universe. How greedy! The inheritance of the fusion law owned by each peak group and force is extremely crude. Compared with the place where the fusion law is inherited, it has only 1/10,000th of the effect. If you want to learn from it and make progress, the probability is even more pitiful. However, there is no point in being greedy. The place where the fusion law is inherited can only be entered by obtaining the inheritance token. Without the token, even the founder of the world cannot enter. And now, there is a Kaishan sect inheritance equivalent to 1/10 of the inheritance effect of the fusion law. This is so attractive. Even the founder of the world continues to practice the law of integration. The Kaishan sect inheritance has a complete set of 57 fusion laws, which is of great benefit to every founder of the world. Not to mention every master. The ancestor of the blood dove looked at so many figures and said, "You all know that the Kaishan sect inheritance has a complete set of 57 fusion laws. How powerful is it? There is a high probability that it contains experience and secrets on how to break through and become the founder of the world. Even how the founder of the world can practice faster is probably included in it." His words even made the founders of the world become a little eager in their hearts. Their strength is already at the pinnacle of the universe, but who doesn't want to become even more powerful? And the founder of the world is definitely not the end of the universe. Suddenly, one of the founders spoke. "The Kaishan sect inheritance has such an effect, we must get it. The human race is already so powerful, and human Li Yang has many clones. The probability of becoming the founder of the world is very high in the future. Once human Li Yang becomes the founder of the world, the entire human race will have 10 founders. Plus Kaishan according to the sect, in the entire universe, which other ethnic group is the opponent of the human race? So, this time we can only get the inheritance if we stand together and force the human race. Ancestor Blood Dove, what is your specific plan?" One by one, the founders were eager and really agreed with the alliance at this time. The voice of the Blood Dove ancestor was as sharp as before, "Our goal is to inherit the Kaishan section. The purpose of joining forces is not to fight, but to put huge pressure on the human race and then start negotiations. It is impossible to kill the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor. The situation in which the Hunyuan Ancestor fought against more than a dozen of them is still in front of us. As long as the 2 of them are alive, the top combat power of the human race will always exist. Therefore, the main purpose of the establishment of the coalition team is to threaten humans." The Jinmi ancestor of the Metal Clan said, "What the Blood Dove ancestor said is right. If the human race really wants to go to war with us, we can't do anything to the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor, but the 3,000 star continents of the human race will definitely not be able to withstand our attack. The masters of the human race will only hide all the time and have no qualifications to fight with us. If the war really starts, the top level of the human race will not die, but the 3,000 star continents will be destroyed. Of course, the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor can also make the same move, enter their clans, and kill them wantonly. The final result is nothing more than the top 10 peak clans and peak forces, and only the Masters, the Creators, and other high-end combat forces are left, and the remaining weak ones will all die. Both sides will suffer losses, which is not what any race wants to see. The human race has obtained the inheritance of Kaishan sect, so it is naturally impossible to see this. With only inheritance but no people, how can it develop and become stronger? Relatively speaking, it is impossible for the human race to choose a losing-lose strategy with them.